This went viral this last week. If you guys didn't see, DoorDash Girl claims SA. This is a case in which internet trolls have used AI to mess with everyone's heads. 2 are confusing language. And 3, the amount of misogyny lashed out at this girl for something that was so obviously not her fault, even though she wasn't perfect in the situation. That imperfection gave people an entitlement and emboldened them to harass her. Let's talk about it. Here's this video, okay? Showing sort of the original video, right?
That she was SA'd by a guy sleeping butt naked. Finally have the original video from the DoorDash girl who said that she was SA'd by a guy sleeping butt naked on his couch with his front door wide open.
So you see, this is the only original video that anyone has found circulating on the internet. Even though there's a claim there's Ring camera footage, it is not surfaced. Every single person who says it exists, it is not surfaced. It got so bad with misinformation, guys. Big TikTokers had to make apology videos about running with the consensus that she, quote, opened the door when she never did, okay? So just watch that again, please, okay?
Say that she was SA.
So she walks up to the door, notices that he's on the couch. So he's butt naked. He's got a sweater on and his arm over his head, okay? Right?
By a guy sleeping.
So look at that. The door is open. She's like, what the fuck is this? Yes, exactly. Chat said she didn't go inside either. So allegedly, the internet's like, she went inside. She went inside. She never went inside, as far as we know. According to her original story, this is what happened, okay? The claim is she should never have recorded it and posted it on the internet. She did record it. She did report it. And then she got fired for it, okay?
Butt naked on his couch with his front door wide open. 2 things. One is if the door was wide open, we see from the video that the staircase is on the right side of the door. Meaning that when she walks up the staircase, she can't help but see the guy on his couch, even though the couch isn't in front of his door. I still don't think that she was SA'd. Maybe indecent exposure. I mean, there's some public and privacy.
So, okay, so she claims it's SA. She used the word essay. Now people started getting freaked out about essay. Okay, listen. Essay usually means now. It does not mean literal physical assault. Usually people use it in regards to an umbrella term as it relates to sexual harassment, sexual assault physically, sexual assault verbally. A lot of people, especially on the internet, use it interchangeably. So you discounting this girl's story because she used a word differently than you is not valid. But that's what people were doing. They're saying, well, that's not how I use this word, and how she uses it is a disservice to real victims of SA. Example, was Emaru SA'd at TwitchCon? I would say yes. Some people would say no. And I'm saying yes. And so the difference here is not our opinions of yes or no. The point is she was most likely targeted by a man who was getting off by doing this. Now, I personally, and this is what's interesting, a man has exposed his body to me many a times, okay? And I've been in situations where I feel like, okay, they're obviously doing a dare, because in a lot of circles, boys will dare each other to moon people or to flash people as a joke. Yes, that is not good. We should stop that. Then on the other side of it, I've had men expose themselves to me in public because I think they were probably mentally unwell, as they didn't seem very stable, okay? And then I've had situations where men, have grabbed me, touched me, all of that stuff, okay? I think that regardless of the why, it's inappropriate and shouldn't happen, and we shouldn't live in a society where we validate it happening no matter what. I think in a good, healthy, centered society, you do not order DoorDash and leave your door open and appear naked. Now, listen, I've been in naked cities. I've done naked bike rides. I've done naked parades in family safe parades, right? Nudist communities know how to keep kids and family members safe. We know the difference between I'm in my house doing something and someone sees me from the street, oops, and somebody doing it on purpose to be seen. I remember one time I was at a hotel for a conference for work, and it was the kind of hotel where the hotel kind of did like a square, and it was a courtyard in the middle, and a person and I were waiting for the elevator, and 2 people were having sex up against the window, and I was like, they're doing that on purpose. We can see them. Here's the thing. I didn't consent to that. Did I report them? No, I didn't. Because at the time I read it as like, people trying to get their rocks off. But the truth is, I should have reported them because there could have been people in the hotel who were genuinely disturbed by seeing that. We did not consent to seeing them naked having sex. And that is the problem with you. Like, your kinks are valid, but you can't force them on other people. So then there's a way to make sure you can engage in kinks in different circumstances that don't force other people to be a part of it, right? So I understand as a person who has somehow found herself in perfectly normal setting, somehow seeing a person in a completely inappropriate situation. This girl walking up to deliver food to see a man naked. It's like, in what circumstances is this okay, right?
Business in between there. But I'm not here to argue the legality behind that. I'm here to say that what DoorDash did by firing her is still on her. Intent is everything. This guy is asleep on the couch and she
I don't want to speak to that. I think it sucks that we live in a world where she gets fired for this. Though I understand from a legal perspective why they would, but I don't like it. I don't like that she got fired for posting this video because in some ways, like, we're never believed unless we post the video. But the truth is that I can see why we don't want to live in a world where people post people on the internet. But I think there's something to be said about posting your abusers or posting your assaulters or posting this. I don't know. But then do we want to post people's bodies on the internet? We can deconstruct this. But I think the way people came for this woman, called her a predator, called her evil, said she sexually harassed this man. Gross, right?
Recognize he is asleep. An unconscious person can't have intent for anything. And once again, I want to say that she felt safe enough to see what was happening, pull out her phone, record, and walk away without anything else happening.
Hold on. Chet says, so will women flash at parties or sports events? Is it SA? It depends. Do we want to look at chests the same way? I don't think breasts are the same thing as like other forms of genitalia. I think it's a construct. I think there are circumstances in which a man taking off his shirt is inappropriate, as I do think it's a woman taking off her shirt is inappropriate. I don't think in all circumstances being naked in a crowd of people is inappropriate. It's about context. And in the context of the situation, there was no appropriate situation where this is where this makes sense. It's not SA because you're naked, right? It's the circumstance. He ordered food, right? He knew she was coming, and it looks on purpose. Now, maybe we're wrong. Maybe he had a seizure and fell on the couch, right? We don't know. Okay, we don't know. And that's a part of the problem, right? Chet said, do you see your Dasher's name when you order? I don't know if you see their name, but I know in all the other apps, I never use DoorDash, but in Instant Cart, in other apps I've used, you see the gender and name of the person. I usually know who's coming, a boy or a girl. I usually see. Chet said, oh, you do see, and you can even see a picture sometimes. Okay, so he kind of knew it was a girl coming, probably, right? So again, I understand that he might have passed out, but okay, so then I think he should be banned from the app, even if he did it on accident. I think if you on accident can't keep your pants on, you don't deserve to use the app. You can use a different app. I think they should ban him the way they banned her. But I think they should ban him because you should not feel as a worker unsafe coming to people's front doors. If you make workers feel safe coming to your house to deliver, you should be banned. Okay?
It was wrong because she recorded somebody in the privacy of his own home, butt naked, and then posted it on social media with his address and everything, pretty much doxing him. Now, the second scenario, and for some reason, this is what everybody is saying, was that the door actually wasn't wide open. It was just cracked because he didn't.
No. Chet said, who walks pantless in their home like that? Me? I'm a naked girly. Listen to me when I say I am naked all the time in my house. I am naked in every capacity, okay? I also don't stand in front of windows. We also make sure that we're cautious about who sees us. We're also very thoughtful about our neighbors. I'm saying he can be naked in his house. He cannot be naked with the door open asking for delivery. I'm saying you can't do that. He can be naked in his house, but he cannot be naked with the blinds open facing the street. You got to close the blinds unless you live in a nudist community. Okay? I also don't want to look into your house and see you taking a shit in the hallway. Okay? Are we good community members or not? I don't want to hear this. It was in my house. It was in my house. I don't care. Do you want to be a good neighbor or not? If we want to be good community members, we're thoughtful about what people are seeing into our apartments. We're also thoughtful about not snooping into our neighbors' windows. Okay? it's a symbiotic relationship. I don't look at your windows. You don't look at my windows. Also, just in case, I don't flash myself in front of my window. Okay? This is good human behavior. We do not snoop on our neighbors. Okay?
Latch it in properly. If that is the case, you are still wrong for recording and posting him online, but you also are a peeping Tom. Now you are the one who needs to have charges against you.
Thank you, chat. I feel like the entire discussion on his privacy went through the door when he opened it. Thank you. What do you mean privacy? Your door is open, bro. What are you gonna do when you get up to go close the door? Like, no privacy now. This is what I'm saying. What are we talking about? This is obviously either ill-intentioned and or he should be banned regardless. So now this guy is the typical story that people have been sharing, right? That he is saying she now did it to him. I don't quite think that's true, but I can understand why people think that's true. And I accept that there will be consequences for her posting the video versus just keeping it private and reporting it, right? Okay.
And I hope that is not the case. I hope that is not true. But people are saying in your original video, that is what happened. So I don't know. Wrong for recording and posting him online, but you also are a peeping Tom. Now you...
No, see, she is not a peeping Tom. So we're done with that video. She is not a peeping Tom. That's a ridiculous narrative. Have you ever been peeped by a Tom? They're so scary. They're so scary. They're so invasive. They're complete consent violators. Okay? So she was immature and she was wrong for posting the video on the internet, right? But she is literally traumatized. She's young. She's like, what the fuck? And this is the internet where people post everything. Y'all post pictures of your neighbors' houses every day. I don't know why you're acting like being brought up on TikTok isn't exactly this behavior, which is why I've always wondered, why do normies post all of their neighbors, their driveways, their houses on the internet? Like, you're acting like she did something completely abnormal. When you all are doing this every day, I see the videos on TikTok. I'm like, why are you guys just posting people's houses? Because you guys don't think about it. Why would she think about it? You are not better. You are also sharing her video around, so you don't give a fuck, right? You don't give a fuck that you're also showing his house. So you're saying, oh, she posted this video, which doxes his house, and now I'm going to post the video which doxes his house. You don't really believe that. Do you really think it's doxing his house? I mean, maybe you think it is, but didn't you just now post the video on your platform? Oh, well, everybody else did. Oh, so if everybody else does it, then it's fine. Got it. Okay, this is her.
Whole 24 hours, I know. But I have an update as of October 16th, 2025. But first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for the overwhelming support and allyship that you've shown me. It's really making me feel so validated and seen and heard. And that's really helping me through this tough time. So I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate the outpouring of support. So the update is, last night I was made aware, a bunch of people started commenting on my pages that DoorDash made a public statement about me on their TikTok story and on their most recent Instagram post in the comment section. And I'm not going to speak too much further on details, but what I am going to say is I and the entire rest of the world found out why I lost my job at the exact same time. I didn't find out before you guys. I'm just letting you know this right now. The people that saw their public statements and made me aware that they made those public statements knew why I lost my job before I did. Because I went and I checked my email once I was made aware that they made those public statements, and they sent me the deactivation email around the same time they released the public statements, like literally within the same hour. So they sent me my deactivation email explaining my reason for being deactivated a whole 24 hours after they deactivated me, and a whole 24 hours after I already submitted my appeal, and about 12 hours after they had already denied my appeal. They finally sent me the email explaining why they fired me. So I and the rest of the world, we all found out why I lost my job together.
Okay, now I want to show you. Let me make sure. This one. So
Guys,
this is the video that everyone used to mock her and make fun of her. Tell me if you remember what this reminds you of. Everyone memeing on this.
DoorDash just deactivated me 2 days after I reported my sexual assault. Hey guys, I just lost my job, and they won't tell me why. They're supposed to send an email immediately after deactivation providing you the reason why and a link to appeal, and they didn't. So I contacted support and they made me sit on the phone with them for 50 minutes just to tell me that they can't tell me the reason why and I have to just go ahead and appeal without knowing why. So my chances of getting my account back, they have my money in that account. I was working. I was literally working and they deactivated me. This is related. They just punished me for posting about my sexual assault while door dashing. They just fired me, and the police are doing nothing. I lost my job, and that was my only way to make money to pay my bills. Hey guys, so DoorDash just deactivated.
Okay, so this reminds me of every girl on the internet that has something horrible happen, and she's triggered, and she becomes a meme, right? Whether it's the girl who screamed when Trump got elected, or the one girl who they named her Trickly-Puff, you guys will recall, okay? Listen to me when I say this, okay? We are living in the weirdest of times where even when you record things, people don't believe you. We are living in the weirdest of times where people are living paycheck to paycheck. And yes, getting news like this is absolutely devastating. We're living in the weirdest of times where young people are told to post everything, okay? We are living in the weirdest of times when at the end of the day, like her reporting it might have also just gotten her fired. And on top of that, we never would have known. Right? So again, her calling it a sexual assault, you can argue with the definition. Okay? I don't care about, I get it. I understand that usually on this channel, we try to be very specific with our language. I understand. But if I came across a house that okay, I'll give you an example. Okay? I will share this story with you. So one time, my girlfriends and I, we're on a canoe or like a boat in the Seattle. Okay. We're in I think it was the Puget Sound. We're somewhere. We're in the water. And we're rowing a boat. And this man is masturbating in the bushes. And I say, it's a park. And I said, get the fuck up and stop what you're doing. And he gets up and he sees us. But instead of stopping or looking embarrassed, I fucked up. Of course he was excited. We tried to report it. Okay. He's walking and he's following us and he's masturbating. He follows us along the water and he's literally masturbating at us. I feel assaulted. I felt assaulted. Was I physically assaulted? No. But I feel assaulted. I was very upset. It felt like an act of violence. I did. And one time I told the internet this story and I called it an act of violence. And I just got decimated in the comments. Fuck you. This is an act of violence. You're so fucking weak. He didn't even touch you. So, okay. We were afraid when our boat started going towards the shore. We were freaking out. We were like trying to push the boat away from the water. And we were trying to be like, oh my God. But, and nothing came about. Nothing came about. It wasn't like, who was this guy? What did he look like? Nobody ever found him. Right? So, I think of situations like that, and I just think, yeah, it might not be sexual assault in the way you think, but that was a threat. That was a fucking threat. And I don't give a fuck if this guy was getting off. I don't give a fuck if he's a fucking little exhibitionist. That was a fucking threat. Okay? And that's the point. She felt threatened. And I'm sorry, but if you were delivering, and like, I saw people say things like, I deliver stuff to people's houses. And yeah, people are often really naked. Get over it. No, don't get over it. No, don't get over it. You have the right to feel upset. Okay? You have a right to feel upset. Okay? All right, let's see what this video is.
Be left at their front door. When I arrived at their front door was wide open. Their lights were on. And they were sleeping on the couch within eyesight of the front door.
Sleeping in quotation marks.
With their pants and underwear pulled down to their ankles, and they were indecently exposed to me.
In the nicest way possible, what happened to this woman was not assault. It was harassment. And there is a difference. If she tries to sue, which I understand.
A lot of people were like, you are making real assault victims or real sexual assault victims look bad. Guys, when are we just going to get together and agree that it's fucked up and people shouldn't do that? When are we just gonna, as a collective, say, no, I don't give a fuck what you call it. No, you can't do this.
I mean, depending on the state, like I'm in Indiana, it's an at-law, like it's an what's it called? At-law state, whatever. You can be fired and they don't have to give you a reason. That's how it is here in Indiana. I don't know about where she's at. But if she wholeheartedly believes that she was fired and for no reason, okay, that's fine. Sue. But if you are going to sue, your wording matters. That court is going to tear you apart if you say that this man assaulted you when he didn't even touch you.
So again, right? That guy at the riverbank who masturbated and followed me and my friends. Yeah, if a court isn't going to understand that, like you acting like as a victim, she should have perfect language. It doesn't matter what it shouldn't be like that. Exactly. Exactly, chat. It shouldn't be like that. So even if this girl is trying to help and I understand it, a court should see that this girl can use whatever language she wants to express a thing that happened to her. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter. The idea is they're framing her like somebody who's trying to take advantage of something when she was literally the one victimized. That's the point. Like, what does it matter? I don't care if she called it a stabbing and she wasn't stabbed. The point is something bad happened. She doesn't have to be accurate with her language. She's literally experiencing, like, you know what I mean? Why are we doing this?
Definition of assault is to be physically harmed.
Exactly. Most courts are aware that civilians may not know proper terms for terms, hence lawyers. Let her lawyer take care of it. You know what I mean?
Or physically touched in a way. This man did not touch her. He was buttloads of feet away from her, passed out on his couch with his pants down. Yes, weird. Okay, that's just indecent exposure. Indecent exposure is not assault. If it was, all these rock concerts I go to where the girls are flashing their boobies, I would have been assaulted all those times. No, that's not.
Genuinely, okay, there's so much to deconstruct here about the body and the form. Many states have pro-nudity laws. I've lived in a lot of those states where people can be topless regardless of their gender, and it's not the same thing, but they can't be bottomless, okay? There's also a difference between her approaching and delivering food and her being basically accosted at her job, right? If I worked at a grocery store, which I did when I was younger, and a guy walked in and, you know, he even looked at me the wrong way, I could get him kicked out of the store, which happened one time. A man came and he just stood there and he kept looking at me for too long. Don't you understand that's a threat? That happened to me. He took a liking to me and he was quite a big person, very tall. And I was like, he's just standing there and looking at me for like a while, like over an hour. And then I was like, hey, you've been here for a long time. You got to go. And like, that is a threat. He didn't touch me. He wasn't even technically near me. He was over there. He was just looking at me. And then finally, the workplace I worked at had to ask him to leave because they're like, hey, like, and then they offered to walk me to my car and stuff. And people supported me. But yeah, this is the problem. You're nice to men. And then some men take advantage of it. I was nice to him. And he took that as, oh, now I get to, you know what I mean? So I understand that everyone is sitting here and acting like, oh, you know, well, when girls flash their boobs, hey, first of all, maybe they shouldn't be doing that. Because God knows rape culture is huge in rock concert and rock communities. Why are we acting like rock communities aren't running rampant with rape culture and misogyny? That groupie mentalities, telling girls that they're sluts for sleeping with the band, but also that's kind of the goal. Like, yeah, we need to deconstruct all of this. Like, you're not helping your case, girly. Okay? So yeah, I understand that you're not perceiving it because the context changes things, as I have participated in nude events and not all nudity is sexual. But given the circumstance of this situation, it's not simply that he was naked. It's simply the context that he ordered food, knew it was coming, and did nothing to take into consideration like this girl's safety. I'll tell you this, during COVID, I would get food delivered and I would tell them, leave it at the door. Don't even, like, you don't leave it at the door, blah, 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 obviously. And then when it would snow, I would say, leave it on the sidewalk outside the house. I'll come get it. I don't want you to slip on my driveway. Like, if it was bad weather, I'd be like, don't get out of your car. Just hand it to me or leave it on the sidewalk. I'll come get it. Because when you know food is coming, you hopefully take into consideration the person bringing it to you. But he didn't do any of that. And maybe it was for a medical reason. Maybe he passed out. But then if he's a good person, he should say, I am so fucking sorry. I am so fucking sorry I did this to you. I am so sorry you're in this position. I will never DoorDash again, or I will take myself off the app. I am so sorry. That's the thing. If he apologizes, if he comes out and says, I am so mortified, I am so embarrassed, I cannot believe this happened. I have never been more disappointed in myself. I can't believe I had a stroke, fell asleep, had a heart attack. But no, like right now we haven't heard from him. And though I don't want to spread misinformation, but there is a TikTok going around claiming they know who he is and claiming he has a previous record. I have no evidence of this. I am not posting that information today on today's stream. Though allegedly the internet detectives have found it, I don't trust them yet. Okay? But if it was an accident, then I expect him to acknowledge it because what a traumatizing experience. Okay? Next TikTok. This is the problem with the internet. And this was made by somebody. So allegedly, the rumor has it that AI is now involved and that most of the harassment this girl is experiencing is also coming from AI bots. But the AI is insane when it comes to this story. Here's an example. It says, DoorDash SA girl ring camera.
Hey, what are you doing? Ah! I'm the victim! I'm posting you on TikTok because I'm the victim!
Okay. I don't know if that's an actor or AI, but it looks like AI as fuck. Some people might say like, oh, it's an actor, they're making memes. Either way, it's shitty. Here's AI, I think.
The sneaky spy who meet DoorDash Girl, the sneaky spy who brings the fries.
She delivers, she discovers, snap and share it all.
Press the crash out button and I'm the victim. DoorDash Girl, the villain next door.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine seeing all this shit. Okay, here we go. Here's some people who are, I think, in support of DoorDash Girl, if I'm not mistaken.
Misinformation is allowed to spread so easily and so rapidly is because y'all be afraid to call people lying ass bitches. Everyone commenting, oh, in the original deleted video, she pushed the door open and walked inside. Bitch, you're lying. You're lying. Because can't nobody provide the original deleted video. When did she say she pushed the door open and walked inside? Bitch, you're a liar. You're a liar and you're an idiot. Because you got that from a comment section. You saw somebody else comment that and you believe it because you want to. Bitch, you're dumb. A TikTok comment section is not a credible source. Where's the original video? And everybody...
Literally, huge creators, huge TikTokers ran with it. They literally saw the comments and they were like, oh, it's true. She's being sued. He's suing her. No proof. This big YouTuber, I should have a TikTok on it, said, oh, I saw 4 videos of it on my feed and I just ran with it because that's my research. 4 videos on your feed is not research, my bro.
Getting on their phone, propping their phone up to record, that wasn't sexual assault. It was sexual harassment. Like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. Are you okay? Are you okay? What the fuck? I don't care what iteration of sexual fucking violence it was, bitch. That's weird. I kid you not. I literally saw a video of someone was like, what if he just forgot to close the door? Or what if he had kids? My kids forget to close the door. What if the kids came inside and forget to close the door? You sitting on the couch with your penis out and you got kids walking around the house? Are you defending this man? Are we okay?
Okay, I'm not anti-nudity. I know a lot of people are always anti-nudity because you guys are so afraid of your bodies because the West has convinced us that our bodies are the devil. So I'm not anti-nudity for the record. I think there's a way to be like nudity and safe. But okay, I'll let people roll with this narrative. Thank you.
Are we okay? No, y'all not okay. Y'all are weird as fuck. Y'all are dumb. You're liars. Post the video. You're a liar.
He's right though. Post the video. They're right, okay? They're right. I think they're they, them. They're they, them. Sorry. They, them. They, them. Okay, next video. Hold on, Chet said nudity is okay, but not around kids. Y'all never been to a bathhouse with your elders? You never like showered with your aunties and uncles? You never fucking had a safe space to bathe with adults? Guys, we have to make the world safe for kids. It should not be dangerous for kids to be naked around adults and vice versa. Can you imagine living in a world where you feel unsafe being in your natural form around people? That is a testament to how flawed we are. Do you know what I'm saying? I say this as somebody in Croatia where people are topless and in Speedos constantly, where kids are naked and they feel safe. And I've been to nudist communities with adults and children and family events and people are safe. I'm telling you, you have to deconstruct your relationship to nudity. You can have a safe space for kids. You can have a safe space for adults. You can have a safe space in culture. You just got to hold people accountable, right? You have to hold people accountable. Chad said we don't need to be seeing adults naked. Boobs are different because they're not sexual. Penises aren't sexual. Vaginas are not sexual. You cannot prove to me that a vagina is inherently sexual. Penises are not inherently sexual. Human bodies are not inherently sexual. I refuse to engage in this because I know it's not true. If you deconstruct your relationship to the body, you cannot say boobs aren't sexual, but vagina is. How are they different? How are they different? Okay, example, if he had answered the door with his shirt off, I also would have found that weird because the social context of it is strange. I don't understand why y'all are so comfortable with your shirts off when you don't even know these people. And at the same time, in Croatia, where I am, if I see people sunbathing with their shirts off, I know it's culturally acceptable and it makes sense. I see it all the time. I see little kids naked all the time here. It's just like, yeah, we're at the beach because it's culturally acceptable and everyone's looking out for each other. Okay? So again, when we have these conversations, it's not, the bodies aren't inherently sexual. It's all about the context, all about the culture, all about the deconstruction. So we need to do it. We do it by holding predators accountable, right? We need to hold predators accountable so we can be safe to be whatever we are. It shouldn't be scary for anyone to be naked, right? But it should be inappropriate to be naked sometimes. It's not always appropriate to be naked, but it's also not always inappropriate to be naked. There is an appropriate time to be naked, okay? It's not black and white, okay? Brittany, how do I stop gooning? First of all, don't ask me questions like that in my chat because it sounds like you're a troll. Second of all, go to therapy and deconstruct. Have a relationship with self. You're a biological creature, okay? Deconstruct your relationship. Have a deeper relationship with it, okay? Next. There are fully AI-generated accounts on here. Look at this.
Everybody's talking about the DoorDash Girl. I was looking at certain videos and I came across this one.
I saw the original video of the DoorDash Girl, and I'm a little bit confused now that I woke up and see everything that's happening. When I saw it, I said, hey, I understand why DoorDash, well, I guess fired you, and why you're blocked from the app. Now, as for the guy,
That's a little weird.
It has been brought to my attention that there has been accounts using my face, telling stories that I have never told, sharing news I have never shared. AI is honestly getting out of hand. These people are profiting off of my face, ruining my credibility, and tarnishing my name because now people are thinking that I'm reading from a script. I've reported this page. I've commented dozens of times underneath their posts. They won't take anything down. TikTok won't do anything about it. Anytime I post about this, I am violating community guidelines. But it's like they're stealing my face. So if y'all come across this page, this post, report it as much as you can, please.
Okay, so this is dangerous, right? This is our concern about AI. Not that they didn't need AI to do it, but now that's the way AI is being, so we got to be careful. Chats, for the chatter who genuinely asked, like, how do I stop gooning? You should ask yourself where the feeling comes from. I don't know what you mean by gooning, but if you mean you have an impulse control issue, I would start to ask myself, why do I have this and where is it coming from? Where do I notice it's coming from? When do I notice it's acting up? When do I notice I have the thought? Why do I notice, why do I act on the thought? And then put it together, okay? And then figure it out, unravel it like a spider web that's been squished together until you can see every perfect little thread of spider web, okay? Next.
Looking pretty bad. I mean, I can't believe, this DoorDash situation sure is looking pretty bad. I mean, I can't believe that happened to her. Well, actually, she's lying. Have you not seen the original video? Oh, no, I haven't seen the original video. I've only seen the video of where she clearly records herself going onto the porch with the door wide open, which you can see from the sidewalk. Can you show me this original video? No. No, I can't. But why not? If you want me to be on your side and criticize her, can you not just show me it or link me it? No, no, I can't. You should do the research yourself. Okay, well, I've done the research myself, and the video doesn't actually exist. The only video that she's uploaded of her going onto the porch, dropping off the food, is the original video that she re-uploaded 4 times because it was taken down by TikTok 4 times. But actually, the guy that she delivered to had a Ring camera on his door, and he just released the footage, and it disproves everything she said. Oh, that's crazy. Can you show me that video? That would be really good to see and really could, you know, enlighten me in this situation. No, I can't do that. But why? I just want to see these videos that you've said disproves everything that she said.
Okay, so this is basically what's happening, right? And Chatter, who said, I've been gooning since I was 10, Discord has advice. Stop using the word gooning. It's a word that comes from a specific bubble that doesn't allow you to take it seriously. Gooning's too funny of a word. Use the right word. I have a problem. I have an actual issue that's going to ruin my fucking life if I don't fix it. Take it seriously. Use serious language and find out what's wrong. Okay. This is what's happening on the internet with this girl, right? People are just AI, everything's a mess. People are coming at her. But, you know, the thing that I've seen on the internet, which I love, is the pushback. I'm so proud of people for pushing back, for saying, hey, you're lying and we're going to call you out. Now, I do believe that a lot of the interaction on TikTok could be bots, but I think more than that, it's also just the misogyny of it all. I think this girl is just becoming a new meme, like all those other girls have become, which is the misogyny of it all. Do you know that girl? Do you guys remember that girl? Oh, God. Do you guys remember? Yes. Do you remember this meme? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Show you. Do you guys remember this meme? Do you remember this one? Do you know that this video, she's actually so normal the whole video, but they just caught her at the right moment and then they ran with it about her being a crazy feminist? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I put it on you, the individual. When you see something, go, hold up. Let me watch like 10 more videos on this just to make sure. Let me hold up. Let me make sure. You know, it's okay to have an initial pattern. I recognize a pattern, but just make sure. Okay. Now, here's Francesca.
With this app that I don't see a lot of people talking about is the algorithm has tricked a lot of y'all into thinking that we need to hear what you have to say. Meanwhile, you don't have a personality, you don't have any talents, you don't have any original thoughts, and you couldn't string one together if your life fucking depended on it. And that is how so many of y'all are falling into that alt-right pipeline and making content defending a man you don't fucking know who flashed his junk to somebody, regardless of the circumstances. Those are the facts. And y'all instigated a dog pile on a stranger just because you wanted some views. My God, look, I get it. The economy is in shambles and a lot of people need money, but more people need to develop personalities off of the internet along with their internal monologue in order to figure out who they are and what their perspective is on the world instead of regurgitating what everybody else is saying on the fucking internet. Like, use some inside thoughts. Get a journal.
Get a journal. Okay, Francesca makes great points here. The reason Francesca is saying this is because big content creators really did just like copy each other's script and come make comments about this girl. And it was kind of crazy. Like, truly, let me see if I can find. Oh, hold on. I didn't even pull up the one I wanted to show you. Let me grab it. So this is why sometimes I know people can get frustrated. Like, one time I got feedback from somebody who's like, Brittany, you try to be nuanced when things are too hectic. You can't do that. People are going to get confused. That's when we need it more than ever. But also I can understand that sometimes my nuance isn't appropriate. But I think that in a situation where everyone is dogpiling on this girl so quick to defend a man they don't even know, I think it's really important that we see exactly what's happening, which is the misogyny of it all. You know what's crazy too is Chatter just said this. They don't think flashing is a big deal. Just like that girl who said, oh, when I'm at a rock concert, does that mean I'm getting flashed? I mean, yeah, girl. If I'm in the supermarket and a guy goes and flashes me his shirt, you know I was just flashed, right? Like, why are you flashing me? And he's going to be like, oh, well, guys can walk around the beach with no shirt on, but we're not at the beach. We're at the grocery store. So why are you lifting your shirt up around me? Like, don't you guys get it? Now, the context at a rock concert, it might be appropriate to flash people. Okay? But it's inappropriate to go to the grocery store in the milk aisle and be like, if you were at the milk aisle and you took off your sandal and flashed somebody your feet, that would also be strange. You're weird. You're being weird. And the fact that I've explained this to you is weird. Okay? It's all too weird. It's all too weird. Okay. Hold on. Let me grab. Where is this video? Oh, I actually want to show you this in context too. This is what's so interesting. Razer, the company, not the gaming company, they put out this ad, which is exactly the community that's dogpiling on this girl, I guarantee you. The exact community that says they're mad for Emaru, but will turn around and victim blame other people. I guarantee you the same men who are angry on behalf of Emaru are dogpiling this girl at this DoorDash girl. But did you see this ad?
Haven't even talked to this.
It says active noise cancellation on, drama off.
For a whole year. I literally don't know why you're still trying to why are you stalking me?
Do you see what I mean? The misogyny in 2025 marketing is crazy. That's sexism. That's misogyny. That's bullshit. That's supposed to be his partner, and that's the joke. Hey, guys, if your girl is yapping, don't worry. You know what I mean? Don't worry. Just turn on your noise canceling headphones. It's like, cool, bro. Very cool. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Hold on. Okay, this one.
Okay, hear me out with this DoorDash video. Y'all, I'm getting a little scared because every time I see somebody say, the original video, she said, she opened the door. Well, in the original video, she walked in his house. It's on Reddit. You guys got to go on Reddit. I keep following the comments. And then they're like, it's not there. It disappeared. Oh, I've been looking and it's never been there. That was never the original video. And I've been here for days. It never happened. Then I've seen almost 4 videos on my For You page of other creators talking about it who happen to be white. I go on their pages, their bios. It's giving conservative. It's giving right wing. It's giving, like, I literally went one of their bios and it said Nick Fuentes for president. So I'm gathering a little bit that a lot of people who are very adamant about not believing this woman or turning this story into something false or making a false narrative completely, it looks like a lot of them are right wing.
Exactly. Chat, I know you said, okay, you're a funny little chatter, this one. Because they're like, you're a boy. You sound like a boy. I don't care what you think your gender is. You're a boy. Okay? And that's only funny if you get it, but I know that might sound hurtful, but you're typing like a boy. You ask questions like a boy. Brittany, what's the 101 to true introspection? How old are you? 15? Why are you in my chat, Habibi? Whether it's good marketing or not isn't the point. I get how it's, you said, I get how it's misogyny because it's perpetuating a stereotype, but isn't it okay to make fun of or jab for the meme? No, we're talking about a situation where like culture has made it seem like when women talk, it's not important. If you're dating somebody and you need to silence your partner, that's a toxic relationship. You said I'm 19. Perfect. So you're a kid. And I value teenage life. It's hard being a teenager. But let me tell you this, making fun of a stereotype isn't funny when it comes to marketing. It pushes harmful stereotypes about people that makes people more bigoted and hateful. Okay? The depiction is you're in a relationship, and when your wife or girlfriend is talking too much, just mute her. That's not funny. That's not a good stereotype. That's bullshit. That's a narrative from a man, right? From male bubbles that say, oh, my girlfriend is annoying. My female partner is annoying. My femme partner is annoying. Even if it was a gay couple and it was a guy talking, it still would have been inappropriate and would have been inherently probably patriarchal because the more femme partner talks and yaps, right? Oh, and what's gross? The patriarchy, femininity. It's not good marketing. What would have been better marketing, considering how neurodivergent gamers are, is have you ever needed to lock in so hard on a game you can't get distracted by the noises around you? Lock in, boys. Boom. And then you're locked in. Lock in. And then you don't even have to gender it. Lock in. And then he hits the lock-in and the world around him stops. Traffic stops. TV stops. Kids playing in the background stops. Boom, locked in. But instead of all the marketing campaigns they did, they're like, oh, I know, bitchy woman talking too much. You know, I should go into marketing. That's what I'm learning from this conversation with all of us. We should go into marketing. Let me tell you this though. That's how people become conservative. They go, you're overplaying it. Who cares, bro? It's just a meme, dude. Who fucking cares? Sure. That's how it always goes, right? It's always just a good meme until it becomes real life. It's all a good meme until your boy shows up at TwitchCon and grabs Emaru because he wanted a cool moment. Yeah, it's all well and good. You know what I mean? Okay, next video.
The victim! Remember?
Oh dear. Where do we begin with this one? Okay, there's a few things we need to point out here with what happened to the DoorDash incident. Firstly, we need to acknowledge that the responses and reaction from everyone is literally...
Hold on. Chatter says, trying not to be disrespectful, but it is crazy to think that girls do yap a bit more, and that's fine to joke about. I do not think girls yap a bit more in a traditional binary biological sense. I do not think biologically women yap more. I do not think yapping is bad, but painting it as bad is bad, and that's what happened. I do think it makes it sound like when women talk, nothing they say matters, and that's why we call it yapping, because we're insinuating I don't have to listen to you when you talk. It doesn't matter. Okay? Chet says men actually yap more. Nobody yaps more than anybody, guys. People just yap. Okay? Listen, we're all yapping out here. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with yapping. Okay? Moralizing yapping is the problem. Why are we moralizing yapping? And then why are we assigning it to a gender? Nothing wrong with yapping.
Actually proving how victims get treated in these situations. How many times have victims been told that they don't have enough evidence? How many times have victims been told that they should have done something differently than the way that they actually handled it? We have to acknowledge that DoorDash actually banned the individual from being able to use the app based on the evidence that the victim did provide them with. So technically, they actually saw that as something that was evident enough. Now, should she have taken it online? Probably not. But in the same breath, it actually just highlights the ways in which people respond to these scenarios in regards to the system that we still live in. Ordering something that does not take long to arrive and then suddenly being stark naked when you know that you've invited someone to your front door or at least your property is not...
Do you remember that episode of Sex and the City where Carrie's staying with her friend at, I think in Martha's Vineyard, and she walks out and the husband is naked from the pants down? Like he's got a shirt on, but he doesn't have pants on, if I remember correctly. Right? And she was like, oh. And then she like brought it up casually to her friend who's like, hey, so he wasn't wearing pants today. Because she wasn't sure if it was like she should be judgy or not. And the wife and him got in a fight and asked Carrie to go home. Listen, I also don't want to judge people for their weirdness. But also like, hey, is that something I should expect? Are you going to give me a warning? Is your husband a nudist? Like, that's why I loved the consent bubbles I was in for kink or nudity, is like consent was asked for and understood. You guys know my story. You might be new to my audience, so maybe you don't know this story. But I worked as a professional nanny before I was a full-time YouTuber. I did both. And I worked as a professional nanny. And in Seattle, they have like a solstice parade. Okay, naked bike ride, a big parade. Everybody paints their bodies. And I used to go. And so I'm sitting there in underwear and a whole painted like body thing. Okay. I think I was like a fairy that year. I don't remember. Okay. And I was running around and I hear Brittany, and I turn around and it's my nanny kid. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, I don't know, 2. And I was like, oh, and I was like, hi. And I was like, and I looked at his parents. I was like, uh-oh. And I went like this. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I looked at them. I was like, I covered my boobs. And I was like, oh, what do we do here? And they were like, and she covered her husband's eyes. She was, I don't know what to do. You're our employee. I don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, we'll just go in different directions, because we were an employee-employer position. So we didn't know what to do. But they go to the naked event every year. They're not naked, but they go every year. So then I came into work the next day and I said, okay, what do we do? And they go, well, you're our employee. So we felt kind of weird because like it creates a weird dynamic, and like you're our nanny, but also we're pro nudity and we're pro the solstice parade. So also, you know what I mean? Chet says with their child, it's a family event, y'all. The government, like it's a Seattle infamous event. Kids, guys, nudity isn't inherently threatening. You know what America is? America is so pornified and yet so afraid of the body. We are so fucked from our relationship with sexuality and our bodies. We literally are, there is sex everywhere and everyone's afraid of sex. There is nudity everywhere and everyone's afraid of naked bodies. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is so insane to me. Let's deconstruct, y'all. Let's deconstruct. Listen, I understand when I got to Croatia, and it's not that it doesn't have problems. I was like, hey, a lot of the kids here are naked, bro. And then I realized, like, that's my brain so traumatized that I was like, can you imagine how beautiful it must be to have such a safe space that kids feel they're safe to be naked? Fuck, that's how fucked up and traumatized I am, that I'm terrified for children to be naked around adults. But that's trauma. If we could exist in a world where we had such a safe community, right? Where kids aren't ever targeted or looked at in that way, where the community protects the kids, then we wouldn't have to think it's weird that the kids feel safe enough to walk around, right? Like, they're babies, you know what I mean? Even some of them were like a little older, like 12 years old and stuff. Okay, don't look. Okay, well, mind your business. Watch your P's and Q's. You know what I mean? It's a community effort. The problem is those people in the community that are dangerous. And they're gonna target your kids, whether your kids are naked or not, girl. Okay, whether your kids are naked or not. Okay? Chet says, how can you know if it's public and there are strangers? Well, what do you think is gonna happen in public? What do you think is gonna happen in public with your kid being naked or not naked? Like, what do you think is gonna happen differently in public? What's gonna change? What's going to happen? You know, what's going to matter? What is the difference socially in that situation? What do you think is going to happen different? I know you're thinking of something. So what is it? What is your brain convincing you of that's going to happen differently? Because you can't say, oh, they'll take a picture of my kid naked. They're already doing that on Facebook. They're taking your kids' faces and making CP out of them. That's why I say don't post your kids online. It doesn't matter if your kid is naked in public. They're already making CP with your kid's face right now. Cops and professionals have been warning you for years. For 10 years, they've been telling you, stop posting your kids online, bro. Haven't you ever seen a kid on TikTok and noticed that they have a lot of saves on this video? Stop posting your kids on TikTok. Haven't you seen the really weird TikToks that I have always reported of parents kind of like positioning their kids in a particular way? I'm like, uh-oh. They're fully clothed. Report. Yeah, girls, I don't know what to tell you about this. Nothing is going to stop a pervert from perverting your kid. That's why you have to choose a safe community, right? Because remember, you're acting like a lot of cultures around the world. We're just like, you're acting like, you know what I mean? Like, nudity exists around the world globally. Now, that's not to say that rape and assault isn't existing in these spaces. It's not to say in nudist spaces, rape doesn't exist. Of course it exists. It's just not because somebody's naked. You don't get more raped when you're more naked. That is modesty culture convincing you that the more modest you are, the less you'll be raped. Tell that to women who wear hijabs and burqas. Tell that to nuns who are wearing their habits from head to toe. Tell that to little girls who wear turtlenecks. Being more naked does not make you more likely to be a victim. Okay? So yes, nudity can be a safe space for all people. But we have to do the work to deconstruct. We have to do the work to protect our communities. Okay? It doesn't mean that I recommend you go home and get naked in front of kids. You're probably not deconstructed enough and you would probably traumatize that kid. Okay? I'm not saying be naked. I'm not saying I want to be naked around my family either, for the record. I'm saying it's not inherently sexual to be naked around people. Okay? Okay. Okay, so this guy is just trying to say we live in a system And right now we're dogpiling on this girl, and there's an inherent problem with this. But it comes from our lack of deconstruction and our lack of safety with our communities. I understand why your intuition, your instinct, your gut reaction is to hate the idea of children being naked around adults. I love that you want to protect kids. But that shouldn't stop you from understanding your kids being clothed is not going to protect them anymore. When I was a nanny, I would let the kids run naked when they had diaper rashes. Do you know what I'm saying? They were technically naked kids around adults. Have you never let the kids run naked because they have a diaper rash? I grew up like that my whole life. There was always kids running around naked. Okay? Okay. Next video. This is important, okay? These videos are really important. 3 different men walked out completely naked when I was scheduled to be in their homes. Listen to this.
This happened to me with. I am not a DoorDash delivery person, but when I worked as a dog walker, I had my own dog walking business. I used to have to go into people's houses.
Hold on, pause. You said in the house, yeah, not outside. You never saw naked kids at the pool or the beach? You never let your kids run naked in the front yard? I grew up in a very high trust community. So let's talk about that. I grew up in a very high trust community. Kids they could walk around naked in the front yard and nobody was gonna, and everybody would just like, they're babies. They're babies. Who are you hanging around? That your baby walking around without a diaper is a threat. That's what I'm saying. This isn't the baby's fault. It's the people you have around you, girl. Get them out your life. Get them out of your bubble. Kick them out. No, yes, I grew up very privileged in a high trust bubble where like babies were safe enough to walk around or be naked in the pool. Yeah. Chaz, I have no idea. I have no way of knowing who's a pedo. It doesn't matter if they're a pedo. You have no idea who's a rapist, but here we are marrying people every day and building lives with them. Come on now. Come on now. You don't know who's a pedo. You're still making friends, aren't you? What does your baby being naked have to do with anything? It doesn't matter that the baby is naked. It matters who's around you. You still make friends. You still let people sleep in your bed. You still have relationships with people. How do you know they're not pedos? What about babysitting your kids? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, protect your babies by not moving off of fear. Don't let fear be the reason. Because I'll tell you this, my parents talked a big game about protecting us against predators our whole life. But the moment some of their sons looked at 17-year-old girls, all of a sudden those girls were grown. So you either give a fuck about kids or you only care about kids when they look cute enough to care about them. Kids are kids. And it's not just the people you have around you. It's actually the way we hold people accountable. So you talk a big game about protecting kids, but the moment kids come forward and say, hey, I was targeted, they go, but you were old enough to know better. And that's the same thing I've heard about children being 6 and 7 and 8 years old. That's the same excuse I've heard from Catholics around me who said, those kids who accuse those priests, I wonder if they were lying. It doesn't matter if your kids are clothed. It matters the adults you have around them and the other kids you have around them as well. Okay.
All the time. And I was always in contact with, generally speaking, the wife, between like a husband and a wife. And the first time this happened to me, I walked into the house where I was scheduled to be, where I had been many times, and a door opens in the interior of a house and a naked man walks out. And the first time it happened, I was like, surely this was a mistake. I don't have contact with the husband in this relationship. I usually talk to the wife. So like, surely he didn't know or something. And then like a few weeks went by and I was lulled into a sense of safety. And then what do you know? Bam, it happens again. Same house. I walk in. It's supposed to be empty. Naked man walks out. So, and he acts like it's a mistake both times. So yes, that happened with another married man. Same thing. I told both their wives. I fired them.
Every time I tell people I nannied for straight couples, the first question I get is, did any of the dads try anything on you? And I said, no. I've been very lucky that every single nanny family I worked for, the husbands were incredibly professional. Everybody was professional in that sense. Never. The wives never crossed the line. The husbands never crossed the line. Nobody crossed the line. But the fact that that's one of the most common questions I get is insane.
As clients, the wives said, oh, it must have been a mistake. People don't believe you. And it also happened with a client who wasn't married, but I was referred to him by a woman who was also my client who said that was her friend. So yeah, men, if they know you're showing up to their house, they're gonna be naked.
Okay, some men will be naked, but yeah, this definitely happens. Okay, here's a funny joke in defense of the girl. Okay, me starving, making sure the DoorDasher is gone before getting my food like a normal person. The guy y'all are saying is a victim for some reason. Girl, okay, there's like obviously memes on both sides, okay? But this is why it is such a strange little bubble that we're in, that I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is really happening here? Hold on, let me pull up this one here. Let me show you. Here's an example of one of the larger creators having to apologize.
I took down my DoorDash Girl video because I was 100% in the wrong. I acted way too quick. I shouldn't have spread misinformation on that post. That was completely on me. I saw initially the screenshot of the door that was crooked that she opened, which wasn't true. The full screenshot shows an open door.
So the way the internet got tricked is they took a screenshot and just closed the gap, but the text was obviously cut off. So anyone who's used to the internet goes like, that's obviously cropped. And the internet ran with it, which is why some people are like, are these bots? Like, it takes 2 seconds to look at the picture and realize it was obviously cropped. The text is literally missing, right? And the people like ran with it. It was cracked when she first got there. She opened it. She opened the door.
And there's no video of her pushing the door open.
But then how does this person fall into it? This is a real person, as far as I know, who saw a video, ran with the consensus, and then has to make an apology now. See, listen to me when I say this. The best thing you can do for yourself as a content creator is have to make the least amount of apologies possible by doing as much research as possible. You won't be perfect at it, but it would really help.
I hopped on the situation way too quickly before any like full evidence came out. I just blindly believed in misinformation. And if you guys have seen the AI video, which I haven't, that one's also fake. I also want to do like just full-on apologies to IRL Monster High Girl, because I just went off the bat and believed bullshit right to my face. I didn't wait for any evidence. Moving forward, I'm probably not going to make any videos on sensitive topics, because if I have the ability to be manipulated or believe in bullshit like this, I don't think I should use my platform for possibly spreading more information, and I'm incredibly sorry for what I've done.
Okay, I appreciate the sentiment. I do appreciate it, and I hope moving forward they just give themselves a bit to feel good before posting, because we all make mistakes. I've definitely spread misinformation. I'm like, fuck. Okay, so I'll accept the apology. Not that I have to. It's not my position to accept it, but I will say, okay, hey, it is what it is. I appreciate that effort. Okay, this is it. This one.
Say this once, there's never going to be a time where I see that a man flashed somebody and I think that it was somehow an accident. And if you do, you're just stupid.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I believe in the spirit of this message. I believe in the spirit of this message. Like, how do you accidentally flash somebody? You know what I mean? Okay. Here's this one. How some of y'all sound doing the most to defend a sexual predator.
Y'all act like you've never passed out with your pants around your ankles while masturbating with the front door wide open while expecting an Uber Eats delivery. That happens to me like every other Wednesday.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know what I mean? Okay, here's this video.
Dude, I'm not sure what else you need. Okay, here's what happened. The dude ordered food. In the instructions, he said, leave the food at the door. He left the door then wide open and laid down in clear view of that door with his dinger out, where you could see it from the door. Okay? He paid someone, made it their job to walk up to that door and leave food there, and then laid in such a way that the person who did that would have to see their dick. What more do you need?
Exactly. Like, come on, girls. What more do we need? And that's what it is. It's like, hey, what more do we need on this? Okay. Now, I don't think the guy's made a statement yet, but then check out this video. Okay.
Well, it's official. She's getting
Now, this is the weirdest TikToker I've ever found. Okay, so this is Jay, and this is Jay's video.
sued by him. Yep. Well, it's official. She's getting sued by him. Yep. So the videos came out, his door cameras, his Ring camera, it all came out. She literally let herself in, and it's on camera.
Okay, now the person making the stitch is memeing it because he took the original video down. And this guy's whole channel is crazy. Like, if you go to his channel, it is a weird author, actor, Alien Blues Clues guy. This guy is weird, bro.
Starseeds. You ever heard that term before? Maybe you are one, or maybe your child is one.
He is like a very weird, like he talks about absolutely everything, but that doesn't like correct anything he's done.
People are messed up in the head. You know that girl that just got on yesterday screaming and crying like, I just lost my job from DoorDash after I filed a complaint about being sexually assaulted. Did you see her video? Like, she's literally screaming, yelling, like violently yelling because she claimed that she showed up to her DoorDash order. And when she got there, that the guy who she was giving the food to SA'd her. So she reported this man to DoorDash. Immediately, they canceled her ability to DoorDash, her job, close it out. So she gets online and makes up a story that she was SA'd by this gentleman. And it's just come out today that she was lying about it. That the man was asleep, had passed out on the couch, and his pants just happened to be down a little bit. So she walked into this man's house.
Listen to the way he says it so confidently. She walked into his house. The first comment on this video is source TikTok comments, and then he replies, LOL.
Without his permission, saw him on the couch and started taking photos of him. And then since
this man is just wow.
those photos to her boss, claiming that this man that was passed out assaulted her. Ooh. First of all, did she just give the worst name to false accusing men of that, which you should never do because now you'll never be trusted. This is like, if I was that dude, I would sue DoorDash for millions and millions and millions of.
Do you know what I'm saying? And this guy has like 200,000 followers. He's got like this whole thing. Like, I'm just like, what? You know, what?
Bird out, but you don't have to do that, obviously. I'm gonna do it regardless. Bird out, but you don't have to.
Starseeds, like aliens, like, sir, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't know what. Okay, you know what, girl? You do you. But do you see how confidently wrong they are? You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at this.
Because I was 100% wrong. I acted way too quick. I shouldn't have spread misinformation on that post. That was completely on me. I saw initially the screenshot of the door.
I posted a video about 2 or 3 days ago about the whole like DoorDash thing, and I made the video based off of like 3 or 4 videos I had just seen on my For You page. That's kind of how I get my content.
Listen, I'm not even trying to be mean, but I'm so concerned. That's an account with 4 million followers.
Whee! 4 million!
Just said the word. He sees something on his For You page a couple times, and that's his source, his fucking source. The other person, almost 300,000 followers. Oh my God. And I'm trying not to be mean because you apologize. That's so awesome that you learned. But did I receive a different public school education? I remember from middle school to high school, it being hammered into me how to fact check, how to find a reliable source. Does anyone else, like, do you remember going in school? If you believed what was on Wikipedia, your teacher would make you feel like an idiot. They'd be like,
that's okay. That's so funny because, that's what I started Wikipedia. Wikipedia is, I was taught Wikipedia is not it's not a source you can rely on because Wikipedia is a collection of sources. You have to check the sources and scroll all the way back. Like, I did not realize there were people out here like, oh, check Wikipedia. I'm like, yeah, but then where did Wikipedia get that source? That's why Wikipedia also sources its source. So you can check the source. So, okay, this is why I think AI will never be as good as people because I was trying to use ChatGPT to research stuff and I was like, it is so bad at research. So ChatGPT does this thing where, and again, I'm not a fan of, I just don't think it's going to be as smart as I am, but okay, I tried it. I put into ChatGPT article, something, something. It brings me these sources. I start to click on the sources, where it came from. Like, oh, this fact about this person. I was like, cool, where'd you get that source? I click on it. It's a video. It's an AI video on YouTube with 10 views. Your source is an AI video with 10 views? I'm not even fucking with you. And I was like, why are people telling me ChatGPT is like good at sourcing? It's so bad. And I was like, so obviously I don't use ChatGPT to source anything because it's bad. And I'm saying you are a better source. You are a better researcher, especially if you are neurodivergently locked in. Girl, you will research way better than this ChatGPT. This Wikipedia is a good start, but it's only the start, you know?
Okay, so why do you think a source that anyone can edit and say whatever they want, why do you think that's a reliable source? I'm so sorry, but if you are seeing something on your For You page that is about someone's real life, a real person's life, and I'm not saying you can't talk about like the crazy shit you see people doing online, but shit that is like criminal, accusing people of defamation, lying, fabricating evidence, not just coming online and being like, oh, you've got a bad take and I'm gonna call it out. Things people can go to jail for, things lives get ruined over, and you get online and call them a liar based on shit you've seen on your For You page?
And 4 million people watched you make this TikTok, or at least a part of that audience did.
Screenshots, and you've got 4 million followers. I am so concerned for the world. I'm so concerned. They will believe whatever they read on TikTok comments, whatever they see on their For You page.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, does it matter if you're mad at her for using the word essay or not essay? The point is, nobody should show up at work and feel like I'm going to see a naked person I didn't expect to see. Or I'm going to see a person in any capacity that I didn't expect to see in any way that's inappropriate. If you went to work and somebody came into work covered in shit, do we agree that that's inappropriate? Like, you know, maybe unless you're going to a scat fetish shoot, I'm going to assume that when I come into work today, there won't be shit all over you. It just feels like you're not being genuine, that it's not black and white. It's not saying, oh, you can never walk into work and see somebody with shit covered all over them because, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? But can we not agree that generally speaking, it's quite shocking? Would it not be quite shocking for someone to come up with a DoorDash and see something they didn't expect to see? You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. So if this man is genuinely not a predator and not a pervert, and he is genuinely somebody who is having a medical emergency and or was drunk and or passed out, okay, then he needs to come out and apologize to this woman and make the internet apologize to her. Also, just like you're responsible for drinking and driving, you are responsible for drinking and ordering DoorDash. You are responsible. Okay? Okay. Any last thoughts on this topic before we end stream today? Okay? Before we close this up full circle, anybody have any thoughts? I can't believe the way the internet just ran with this conversation, except of course I can believe it. It is the internet, you know? But what a ridiculous sentiment. Again, I don't need her to be a perfect victim to be a victim, okay? So I don't care what criticism you have towards her. At the end of the day, she is at work and she deserves to work in a safe environment in which her customers don't greet her at the door with their pants down, period. Thank you, Chad says, love your fit today. Thank you. Yellow, green, yellow, green. I love a yellow, green combo, you know? Ugh. Guys, it's the weekend already and I'm sad to see you go. Of course, over on the Discord, we are doing professionally taught yoga. Okay. Sunday, October 26th. Taylor is an amazing teacher. She does a 30-minute class for us. Everybody's invited. It's very inclusive. I'm chronically ill, so take it slow if you come join us. I take it slow. 30-minute class. It's open for all levels of yogi. Also, we're deconstructing The Good Place. We're on season 2, episodes 5 through 8. On Sunday, we're going to go through the episodes and just deconstruct it from a philosophical lens. So please come join us for a watch and discussion. Discord says 2 long streams in a row. She must have missed us. I really did. I really struggle to vacay sometimes because when I'm on vacation, like I still need stimulation, and in philosophy and pop culture and so this is my stimulation. So when I can't do it, I'm just like, so I did. I told my partner, I was like, I need to get back to work just to talk to people. I have all these things. I have all these TikToks I want to talk to somebody about. Obviously I talked to him and that's great. You know, it's great. But I do love to hear other, a wide variety of input, right? Mikey, thank you so much for the super chat, says, I'm about 20 minutes behind, but I'm going to New Orleans, especially during Mardi Gras. It was understood that I would see things that others outside of the community might feel would be inappropriate. Mardi Gras is like a really good example too. Thank you so much for that super chat, Mikey. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, but going to New Orleans, especially during Mardi Gras, it was understood that I would see things. Exactly. Yeah. Like there's just like certain communities have certain cultural expectations. And I remember I had a friend back in the day who worked for the Peace Corps, and she was taken somewhere in the world, and they would do this like celebration of the dead dance, where they would take their dead family members out of the grave and dance with their dead bodies. And she said she was hit in the face with a dead body's hand, but she was like vibing. And I was like, okay, now when I came out of conservatism, and I think about this all the time, when I came out of conservatism, I did fall into a little bit of a trap of being too accepting of everybody's differences. So because I was too accepting of everybody's differences, I did allow for a lot of predatory behavior to be just a part of the culture. So what I've learned over time is, okay, Britt, you don't want to be so conservative that nothing gets to happen, but you also don't want to be so loosey-goosey that everything gets to happen. So how do we find a balance between this is my culture, so it's allowed, and this is my culture, but I need to update it? Because this is the problem we have with a lot of our bubbles is, especially since I was seeking a lot of sexual liberation, a lot of the ways that I sought that sexual liberation, now I would never do it in that way, but I did it in that way because at the time I thought this was freedom. I would do it in a different way now, but I'm very pro consensual, ethically sourced pornography. I'm very pro ethically established communities that make the consent the forefront of the community. That's why I loved my BDSM and nudity communities, is they were very consent focused. They were very much about protecting each other. So when there was a predator in the community, which happened, we dealt with it very quickly. Because sometimes it would happen. Sometimes there were predators in the community, and it would be someone we never could have imagined. It happened. There was a guy in our community who I had known a little bit, not very closely, but I had known, and he asked me if I wanted to do a scene with him, and I said, no, thank you. Thank you though. And I had known his girlfriend, and I had liked her well enough. We were very close. I just knew them at the dungeon. And then it came out that he had assaulted over 8 people. It was a devastating hit to the community because he was volunteering, he was there, people loved him, and then it came out with evidence. It was devastating. So you have to remember, the community mourns when we realize this person we thought we could trust is an abuser. So I understand your guys' initial concerns over how do you know who's a predator. You don't always know, but I believe we also form predators. I really believe that a majority of predators are made. I don't think many predators are born that way. I think that's also a reality, but I think we make predators. We make predators by raising our boys and girls incorrectly, raising our kids incorrectly, by shaming them, right? There's so much to be said about how people end up the way they are, and I just want to do preventative work. I just want to see children and give them a fucking chance at a good life. And I'm not going to do that if you keep having kids and abusing them for being gay or trans, if you have kids and shame them for being curious about their bodies, if you have children and you don't need, we have to understand that when we make a baby, we're bringing a consciousness into the universe and telling it to exist now. Okay. And so again, I just think there is so much to be said about how much we are all responsible for the world and the predators of the world, and why I want to do preventative work, because as somebody who suffers from having predators in her family, it's a devastating realization. And what's devastating is how bad they double down. And I see they're afraid. I see they're afraid to admit it because they don't know where the path of redemption is. If they admit it, then what now? Now their life is over. Your life isn't over, but it will be different. It won't be the life you've had before. And when you're ready to let go of the life you had before, you can do right by the victims that you left in your wake. But it is scary. It is scary to face yourself and say, I'm ready to let go of the life that I thought I had built for myself. And also for the future, for those future people, those future kids, I really think those people could have been different people had they been raised differently. I really believe that. I really believe these people would have been different if they were raised differently. I don't know that that's true, but I think the data shows that it's more probable. And that's the thing. We're not aiming to raise our kids better for a guarantee. We're aiming to raise our kids better to prevent it or the probability of it, but not guarantee the outcome of it. And that's what I believe. And we haven't done it enough to see if it's true yet. Because the dilemma is they keep thinking, but I did that, but you didn't. You didn't do that. You think you did it, but you didn't as parents. Parents always think, I raised them right. I taught them right. I taught them to respect women. No. I taught them not to. No, you didn't. You think you did, but you actually didn't. And I wish I could explain to you why you didn't, even though you thought you did, but you didn't. And that's really painful. It's really painful for our parents to think, is this my fault? It's your responsibility. It's not your fault. It's your responsibility. It's not our fault. It's our responsibility. All right. Yeah. Chet says, this nature versus nurture node. Have you reviewed the show Dexter? I have not reviewed it for my stream, but I did watch the original Dexter show. I didn't watch the reboot though. The original Dexter show was fucked up, right? But I think even if you want to believe there are Dexter characters, like these people who are born this way, they're hardly most of the population, right? Society really heavily is a trust society. Guys, I trust you to stop at a red light. I have to trust you to stop at a red light. We have to trust teachers to send our kids to school. I know people say, like, I don't trust anybody with my kids. Do you send your kids to school? I don't trust anybody with my kids. Did you have your kid in a hospital where they took that kid away from you to go do some work on that baby? I don't trust anybody with my kids. Didn't you send your kid to a hospital? Yes, you trust people with your kids. We have to trust people with our kids. The question is, are we willing to admit that maybe we shouldn't be trusted with our kids? Just not for the completely devious reasons you think or malicious reasons you think. Parents with really good intentions can be very bad parents, even if they don't mean to be. You know? Yeah, most people have to trust a mechanic to properly torque the wheels on their car. We have to trust each other. That's how we make the world go round. That's why betrayal is so painful. I trusted you. I trusted you. Now, this is my one word of advice before I go for the weekend. You should trust people to be who they are, not who you want them to be. And it will change your life to accept people for who they are. Because, you know, that betrayal does come from a misunderstanding of who this person is. And I will tell you this, even when you trust people to be who they are, it can still feel very hurtful and it can still be a betrayal. But you should start really trusting people to be who they are. I trust my family, but I don't trust every person with the same amount of responsibility. Okay? I trust certain siblings with children, but I don't trust all the siblings with children. Not because they're, by the way, I don't think they're going to necessarily touch the children, but I think they might say something. I don't trust my mother with my kids because she might say something transphobic or homophobic. Right? It doesn't always have to be malicious and sexual in that weird way. It can just be, yeah, I don't want you talking mad props to Trump around my kids, bro. I don't want you uplifting a sexual predator in front of the kids. Right? Okay. Chad says, you have kids? Well, you know, the best decision I ever made as a mother is not to become one. So they're not real kids. I don't have kids, girl. I don't have kids. But if I had kids, I'm very serious about these kids that I would have had in another life, okay? I don't have kids. I'm very serious about kids, though. Oh, I just want to share this one thing. It was so cute. My brother, my gay brother, he's back with Farm Brother right now. They're working together for the winter. And he sent me a message of the kids hanging out with him. And he's like, hey guys, I'm making a video. And the kids were like, oh, hi. And they were just like, whatever. And then he goes, it's Auntie Brittany. And the kids go, and they jumped up and they're like, Auntie Brittany, Auntie Brittany, Auntie Brittany. And they were like, and I just sat there and I was like, I feel so loved. This is what I live for. We have to do right by the kiddos. They trust us so much. Oh, I'm going to cry. They trust us so much. Oh my God, they're so cute. And that's why it's so horrible when adults betray the trust of a kid. They trust us so much, and we just sit there and we really misuse their trust, you know? Oof, if those kids ever come out gay or trans, you just know they have a place here in Croatia, girl. I'm gonna fly them out. Anyways, okay, protect the children, protect the vulnerable. They're really depending on us, you know?